All right, what's good, YouTube? So today I got a pretty good video for you guys. I had one of my Patreon supporters ask me, how do I make my type of beats? So I was kind of curious what he meant. He meant like literally how, like the type of beats that I like to make, like when I'm making them and what I hear and kind of envision in my head. He wanted me to kind of elaborate and explain on that. I made a Milan Makes Beat type beat. So typically when I can make these types of beats, like they all sound very similar. So when I'm making a beat, I'm like got the idea of I'm gonna put Fonny on this, or I'm gonna put uh, anybody. I'm gonna make a Fonny type sound, or a Yachty, or a Playboy Cardi, or Young Ben, whatever the case is. I kind of gear it towards that artist. Whereas when I just get in here and I just make a beat, and it's just from what I want to hear, those typically sound a little bit different, and that's where I call it a Milan mix beat type beat. Whereas the other ones, they're Milan mix beat type beats, but it's not like my go-to. So so when I'm making my beats and I'm thinking of Milan make beats type beats, I'm thinking of beats that I could just listen to and I don't need words to it. Whereas when I'm making beats to rap on for particular artists, I make it to where they're beats that sound like they could be rapped on. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully that kind of helps. But typically when I make these types of styles, this is kind of what I just will sit back, make the beat, and I might sit there and listen to it over and over again and just be vibing and kind of just chilling like while I'm making the beat. So this is kind of how I get started on those types of beats. Right. So we've got the first melody. And again, oops, let me rename that one. Again, I kind of name these based off of what kind of instrument they are and why, and I place them in a certain order and how I use them. So like I always have a main melody, something that plays throughout the whole duration of the song. So it'd be this right here. And usually I try to make my melodies sound very slow, kind of melodic, like very kind of just out there and kind of different. I like to hear like different sounds. I like it to kind of sound like I'm floating in space, or like maybe like the intro to a movie, some type of weird type of movie. I really like the kind of sad type of cadence on my beat, but it be kind of uplifting and kind of a little bit upbeat. So it seems like it sounds sad, but I don't really know how to describe it. Just like a dark, it's not dark like how Metro Boomin does his beats, but it's kind of in that type of realm. So I don't know, for whatever reason I like the way the sad sounding beats sound, not the dark sounding evil beats. Those are cool, and the upbeat hype beats, those are cool too. Rage beats are cool too, but that sad type of sound where it's like you can speak really emotionally about off this rap emotionally in that song. I really like those types of beats. So my beats kind of tend to gear towards the sad type of sound, like a deep, dark type of sound, but not like the evil side of it. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but that's kind of what I think about. So that's the first melody. Usually, I always make a second melody that will coincide with that. I like to use arps or pads or synths or something like that, or sometimes another secondary melody that will counteract the other one. But this is what I have for the second one. This one is an ARP, so it's kind of more of a filler so it kind of fills in the gaps that the other one doesn't. So if you notice the other one is slow, this was going to sound a little bit more speed up and got a little bit more going on. If you notice, when I'm doing my effects too, a lot of times I have sounds going to the left and the right ears. I like to make it sound like the sound is bouncing back and forth. Then you hear another sound that it bounces back and forth. So it's like you get different. It activates a lot of sensory receptors in your brain. It's like, okay, I hear something right here on the left. I hear something different on the right. Now I'm hearing something both together, but kind of like in the middle. So if you notice, even down to where I have my panning at, sometimes I pan my stuff differently and alter how the volume is, and even down in the actual the pattern itself, I'll change the velocity, so it sounds different in each ear, and it kind of brings attention to different sounds. So that's one little trick or something that you can actually use as well. The next I move on, and I usually add a lead. So I'm pretty notorious for adding some type of synth or some type of lead in there that comes in and is added later on in the beat. Usually I only use it a couple times. I don't know why. I think usually leads are different, are very different sounds, are good transitioning sounds to transition to the next part of the song, next part of the beat, or next verse, or whatever the case is. So I usually will add a lead there or some type of very different sound. And see, if you notice, like I say, all these kind of melodies sound a little bit sad. The most upbeat one was that art. It kind of sounded like a sparkly kind of blip blop twinkly type sound. That's the most upbeat sound that's in here. Next, I usually add after a lead something that is kind of like a second melody that is usually kind of simple, something that's like a pluck or a bell, maybe some strings or something like that, but something that's totally different from the other instrument, so it stands out more when I add it in there. So this is that sound that we got, this pluck here. And if you notice throughout the out my pattern, I always try to have variations within the pattern so that even the pattern sounds different as it continues to play. So the next video that I'm going to make is how to make a melodic type of melodies, and I'll really go in depth on how I make melodic type melodies, and I kind of show you guys a little bit more on that video. I think that I'll post that next week. But if you notice, like I try to make my melodies as melodic and kind of weird as different sounding as possible, while all of it still being coherent and cohesive together. So that's kind of that sweet spot. The weird kind of dark, sad kind of sounds that are kind of slow paced. They're kind of like you can speak more on the beat because you hear more of the artist's vocals, whereas it's not just some type of crazy fast beat that artists just rap fast on. A lot of artists think just because they're rapping fast, they're rapping good. So that's kind of why I like to slow my beats down because now you have to rap and you have to make some coherent bars. You can't just ooh yeah well da 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 and then think you snapping because a lot of rappers think because I'm rapping fast and I just rhymed is hard, but that's not the case in my opinion. I like something that's a little bit more slowed down and then there's more thought out bars. I like that. So moving on, we just got hi hat. Hi hats always kind of do different. If you notice, you can hear the panning and everything, different velocities. And I always make the hi hat pattern in the beginning different from the end. So it's just a matter of finding your style and finding what you like and how you want your sounds to sound, and it becomes really easy. It's just a snare right here, nothing spectacular about that. We got us another snare, clap, just a regular old clap. My signature little breath sound. Yep. You got your 808 patterns. With the 808 patterns, how I do them is very key that if you're making a Milan makes beat type beat, I like variations in my 808 patterns just like I like my melody. So I might have a 808 that starts here and then it immediately drops to a lower octave, and just in between there I have like the where the 808 hits, it hits in different areas where it coincides with the other sounds that I have laid out already. So typically like every sound builds upon the next sound. So it's like all of them together sounds like one complete puzzle piece, but then when you start stripping elements, it gives it enough, I guess, thinness to where it allows the beat to kind of breathe so that the artist can rap over that particular portion. So if you notice when all of my beat drops and all of the sounds are playing, it all sounds very like, oh, this sounds very collective. All of these songs piggyback off of each other. And then when you notice I start taking elements out, it's very clear where the hook is, where the verses are, where the bridge is. Like I try to make it very clear. So when I remove an element, it's very evident. So with the 808 patterns, I try to make sure that even when I have some of those elements stripped away, the 808 pattern still sounds good and still makes sense. So typically how I make my 808 patterns is I'll make the 808 patterns and I'll only have my melody and like my secondary sound playing, then my instruments playing. That way I can hear it, how it would sound if that was the verse. And if it's, as long as it sounds good like that, and I like the way that it sounds, I'll continue to move forward. Because sometimes it all sounds good together, but then you take out one or two of the instruments so that you can start to break down the different portions of the beat, the verses, hooks, and all that other stuff, the bridge. Then it starts to sound too flat and too thin. That's where you need to really find that sweet spot between how to make your melodies, how to make them sound different, and how they can fill in the gap for each other, but also not feel too empty or too thin when they're playing by themselves. So this is the 808 pattern I got. This is a simple 808 pattern. So when we get all that, we throw it all together, and this is what we got. I laid this one out a little bit different, structured it a little bit differently, but still kind of the same setup. But this is what we got for the song so far. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I got. So if you notice, like when you're hearing these types of beats with that I make, these are like more in line with what I like to hear in my head when I'm making beats. So those weird type of slowed down, trippy type of beats that almost sound like the song is going on a journey. That's what I like to hear because typically when I'm making these beats, like I'm making them in the pretense that I'm just listening to them. Like I'm not really rapping or thinking about any type of bars or anything like that. I'm just like, oh, that sounds cool. I like the way that transitions. I like how it bridges off into this. I kind of like it to make like the beat almost makes a story, and I can just kind of listen to it and kind of vibe, sit back and chill. So that's kind of the style that I like. I really like this chilled, laid back style of the beats that I make is my favorite. So that's all I got for you guys. Really quick, simple tutorial, basic breakdown of how I make my beats. I'll go a little bit more in depth in how I make the melody aspect when I drop that video of how to make melodic melodies so that I can really go in depth and show you guys how to do it and kind of what I do throughout my process. So, I mean, if you guys got any more comments, drop them in the comment section. If you got any questions or anything like that, drop them in the comment section. If you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Either which way, just kind of, interact with the video so the algorithm works in my favor so I get, more video views and can put out more content, get seen by more people, and I'm able to give you guys more. So I appreciate all the love and support. I love that you guys are tapping in with the Patreon. I got a new couple Patreon supporters in the community. Shout out to y'all. Thank you. And that's pretty much all I got for you guys today, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave some comments in the comment section of what you want to see next. Again, like I say, I'm going to show you guys a little bit more next week on how I kind of do some things and kind of get more in depth. So, I've been liking making these videos and I like the interaction. So I'm going to continue to kind of, move in the direction of what I'm thinking about doing for different things, different videos. I just got to upgrade some equipment and work on some things, but everything comes in time. So y'all bear with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving you the best that I can right now. I'm gonna definitely upgrade some stuff and really get some cool videos out there for you guys. But I appreciate all the love and support. You know what I'm saying? Like me, like the video, dislike it if you dislike it, whatever the case is, just interact. And then follow me on all social media, Milan Makes Beats. If I got it, you'll find me. If I don't, you won't. And that's all I got for you guys, man. So y'all be easy and keep checking out the tutorials. Peace.